been in the hospital a number of days, I had a fascinating insight that I would like to share with you that I think is very important for us to think about. As we've been in now a couple of days, we've developed into a very nice relationship and partnership, coordinating with the doctors and our own care, and be able to provide for Simcha Dov, and hopefully really be able to help him and meet his needs. Let me explain. When we first came, and Simcha Dov was on a standard issued hospital mattress, he began to develop bed sores within 24 hours. And therefore, we had brought with us an air mattress from home that was suited for him and was specifically made to help prevent that. It took a while to get it installed, but once we did get it in place, we were able to resolve the issue and the bed sores began to go away. And then it was about the medication. The hospital had their schedule and when they wanted to give it, but it didn't match Simcha Dov's needs. So again, we had to speak to the doctors and the nurses and go through the whole red tape in order to finally get them on our schedule, and they were happy to comply. And then, of course, there was the individual care of taking care of him. Their nurses have not been really trained to deal with the patient who's in an advanced stage of ALS, like Simcha Dov. So we have brought our own caregiver, and Baruch Hashem, with his help, we've been able to care for him again. Now, you have to understand that doctors and nurses are caring people. They're trained professionals and only doing their best. But they're overworked and understaffed, particularly now during Yom Tov time. And we need them. We need them to be able to run the tests, to understand what's going on with Simcha Dov. We need their wisdom and their experience in which antibiotics to give, besides, of course, access to all of those medications. But together, between a partnership that has developed between the doctors, the nurses, and ourselves, we've been able to care for Simcha Dov, and in Mitzvah Hashem, we look forward to being able to go home soon. But then it occurred to me, that this is not much different than school, where too we have teachers who are trained, mothers who love their students, and rebbeim who care to the end of the world for each of their talmidim. But it would be foolish to think that they can truly understand the needs of every child that's in their classroom and be able to meet them and help them not only in their education but in their spiritual growth. Of course, it needs to be done with the parents. The parents are the ones who truly understand the needs of the child. And if we were to just leave them in school, they too would start developing bed sores, or it may not match the schedule that they can be able to internalize the messages that they're hearing. Not to mention to develop a relationship with Hashem, which is truly individual, certainly takes the guidance and the teaching of a parent and the example of what happens at home. So this parallel became very strong to me. Just like it would be foolish for a person to bring a child into a hospital and say, okay, please take care of my child. So too, when we send our children to school, we need to remember that it needs to be with a partnership. The parents providing the individual understanding of the child. Perhaps it might need medication, perhaps it may need extra care, or perhaps it just means understanding the child's needs. And the Rebbe will certainly be able to do what they can, and the Mara will be able to provide the direction and the love that only they can provide, and the education that only a school can give. But it needs to be in a partnership, each side giving what they can so that the child can grow and become and reach his full potential. So in Mitzvah Hashem, together with us as parents and schools together, working together, we should be able to have only nachas from our children, to see them grow and steig in Yirus Shamayim and Ahavas Hashem, and be matzliach and limud HaTorah, and to be able to reach heights that not only will make us proud of who they are, but they should be able to surpass our wildest imaginations. It's Motzei Shabbos, Leil Shana Rabbah, and we just finished spending Shabbos in the hospital. I just want to give you a quick update, and actually a thought that connects to this previous video that you just finished watching, and Shmini Etzeres that we're now heading into. So the update on Simcha Dov is Baruch Hashem, he seems to be stable. The doctors have come in really just to make sure that things are right, and they have determined that we can really wait until after Yom Tov to do the bronchoscopy and to be able to figure out what's going on, but it does seem to be stable. They are not, Baruch Hashem, concerned that it's anything greater than the pneumonia and the side effect thereafter. So we're hopeful that Hashem will send the Refuah Shlema and that Simcha Dov will be able to return home shortly thereafter. So the thought that I would like to share with you after you finish listening to this video, that the truth is the same thing is what's going on here in Sukkot and the Yom Neroim, and now we are heading into the regular year. And that just like you would not want to leave a child alone in a hospital, and you would not leave a child in a school without guiding and connecting with the teachers to making sure that the child is growing the way you want to, so too we can't live in the world without Hashem. And we've been able to have a certain connection that's developed over the Yom Neroim, particularly in Sukkah, and we're able to feel Hashem's presence to some extent more than we had before. We need to take that into the rest of the year and not feel like we are disconnected from Hashem. We can't manage, right? Just like a child can't manage without a parent. A Jew can't manage without Hashem in the rest of the world. And therefore the idea of Shmini Etzeres is to be able to do just that. The Lashon of Etzeres is to gather in. And we spend one more day with Hashem where we want to inculcate and internalize the connection and the feeling that Hashem is close as we leave the sukkah and go into the world and go back into the house and back into our mundane activities without a Yom Tov in the near future, to be able to remember that Hashem is always there. Hashem would not leave us alone, just like we would not leave our child alone in the hospital. So we should all be zoichet to feel that connection, to feel that Ashura Sashina that has increased over the Yom Tov. And we should continue to be able to feel it as we go into the regular world, and always remember that Hashem is with us, holding us, encouraging us, supporting us, and being with us.